I told my neglectful partner that I'm not leaving him. I lied.
This is the best time to lie.
The intrigue. Throwaway account because my partner goes to my phone but doesn't know how to switch Reddit accounts. Sounds like they're dumb. I, 19 non-binary, have been with my partner, 19 male, for almost 3 years now. We met in high school, and during our senior year, I got pregnant. Ooh. Senior year pregnancy. Does that mean your baby graduates too? Does your baby have a degree? I think it counts. Baby with a GED. By the way, this comes from Disastrous Abalone 415. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to r/OK Storytime subreddit. So when we found out about the baby, we moved in together and he was amazing. He drove me wherever I needed. I don't have a driver's license. Let me pick out safe foods because you know those foods aren't safe. And overall, made sure I was well taken care of, especially since it was a very difficult pregnancy. Once our daughter was born, everything changed. He refused to take me anywhere except appointments and getting groceries. He didn't help with the house or the baby, and he was constantly belittling me for not doing enough, all while I was trying to juggle our daughter. You shouldn't do that. That sounds dangerous. The home, as well as my mental and physical health. I think she's speaking metaphorically here about juggling. He wouldn't let my mom or aunt come over and help with anything because it makes him look bad. Well, maybe you're making yourself look bad by not helping.
You ever thought of that?
You ever thought of that? Huh? Are we the first to tell you to think about that? Whenever I've tried to talk to him about things that are bothering me, he plays it off as me being sensitive and overdramatic because of the hormones.
Women. And emotions.
Can't live with him, can't live without him.
Our daughter's now 6 months old, and I've asked him several times to help out more. We decided he would do dishes and vacuum, and those would be his only chores because I have a hard time with them due to sensory overload. Well, he rarely does the dishes and only vacuums if we're expecting a visitor, which he rarely allows me to have. That's the reddest flag of all. You don't allow your partner to have visitors? I feel like that's a hot take, or maybe not so hot take. If your partner is policing who you can't hang out with, I think it's too controlling.
I think that makes sense.
But he also gets upset if I leave the house to visit friends and family, even if he's at work. All in all, I'm done with it. I've talked to him time and time again, and I can't take it anymore. And here is where I might be the a-hole. All right, this is where we all decide who is a-hole and who is not. Who and who lives. I was talking to my mother about how he's planning to leave once I had sold some of my stuff and had enough money saved up. A few days later, he went through my phone and saw the messages about, I guess, her leaving the relationship. When he asked me about them, I told him it was just a heat of the moment thing and I wasn't actually going to leave. What do we think about that? Because I think
he went through her phone. I mean,
because he's controlling.
Typical.
What do you think, James?
I think she should leave him anyways, even if it was a heat of the moment thing.
Yeah.
We don't do controlling in
we
this
don't
house.
do controlling. No.
No, sir.
No,
ma'am.
Sir-ritos.
No.
I feel like they're so young. She probably doesn't know any better.
Yeah.
You know, she thinks
like a
this is what
first
love
relationship.
is like.
Yeah, facts. Yeah.
It's always the 19-year-old relationships that get you.
They're too young. They're too young to have a baby, I think. In my
well, they're
opinion.
having one.
Do they have enough money for this? Come on.
It doesn't matter. It's coming out. Well, I wasn't actually going to leave. Don't get me wrong. I'm not worried about him getting physical. The fact that you have to say that is concerning. If he knew I was going to leave, as he's never been like that. My reason for lying is that if he knew the truth, he'd either punt us out straight away and I wouldn't have any time to prepare, or he'd beg me and sweet talk me into staying, and I can't let that happen. End the cycle of abuse. This happened a few days ago and I feel somewhat guilty for lying to him. So Reddit, am I the a-hole for lying to my partner about me planning to leave him? And there is an update. It doesn't start here, or no, it does start here, but it doesn't end here. But what do you think? Is OP the a-hole for lying to her partner about wanting to leave?
Absolutely not. But she just needs to pull the plug.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
I think you're being the a-hole to yourself.
That's true.
You
She
know?
is the a-hole.
She's the a-hole to herself, because have some gosh darn self-respect. Pull the plug. But we got an update. The original post is on my profile from a few weeks ago. Sorry it has taken so long to get an update, and this is going to be long, but a lot has happened. A few days after my last post, I hit my breaking I packed it up for a few weeks, turned off my location before leaving with my daughter, stay with my aunt a few cities over. So OP's leaving. So she's going on the lam. When my partner got home from work that day, he started messaging me, freaking out. I told him we were done and I couldn't keep doing this.
Yay! Good on you.
He spent a few hours going back and forth between yelling at me through voice messages, then crying and begging me to come back. I eventually told him that we could talk more once he had calmed down. We came to agreement that I would come over at the end of the week and we could have a proper sit-down conversation as long as we both remain calm and reasonable. I also told him that until I came back, I wanted to remain minimal contact so I could think and collect myself, which I think honestly in the moments after a breakup is a good move. You want to really reflect of like, okay, like what do we think? The entire time I was gone, he was messaging me, trying to get pictures of me and the baby and finding ways to get me to come back early. I did send him a few pictures of our daughter simply because it still is his daughter, which agreed. But I refused to put myself in any of the pictures and stood firm in the fact that I wasn't coming back until the end of the week. He also spent several nights with his friends getting wasted and telling me how I'm tearing him apart and making him feel horrible when he did nothing wrong. Once the week was over, came back towards the end of the day. Once my daughter was asleep, we sat on the couch and talked. Okay, so now the bad boyfriend, daughter's asleep that they both share, the bad boyfriend that she's breaking up with and trying to like run away with the daughter with, they're sitting down and they're going to have a talk. Again, they're both 19. This is a lot to happen for a 19-year-old.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, they're both 19. I explained that I feel unappreciated and that he needs to step up as a father because as it stands, he's just above a deadbeat. And that's only because he pays the bills. During our conversation, it also came to light that I can't do monogamy.
What? Where was that in the original post? That came out of nowhere.
That's
So
kinda
why? I'm curious as to like what the, it might just be like a preference or something like that, but I'm really curious as to what the explanation to that is. You know what I mean?
Maybe she's just like, I don't want to be locked down with no deadbeat anymore. And so monogamy is just not for me. I've known I'm polyamorous for several years, but when I met him, I thought I could be monogamous for him. And after almost 3 years, I'm realizing I was wrong. I'm not here to judge me on that, so please don't come for me trying to tell me I'm a spicy sleep addict or something because I promise I've heard it all before. I ended up agreeing to stay and to try it all again, this time with some new ground rules and boundaries set in place. So now she's trying to do this relationship again. I don't know. It feels like it's a little bit too soon to just start things over.
Yeah. I mean, after such a fallout like this, you definitely need some time apart and some time to think about
you can't just get right back in.
What you want. Yeah, especially if they're thinking like, oh, like, I thought I was polyamorous, or like I thought I could be monogamous for this guy, but actually it's not gonna work out. Like that seems like something that needs to be addressed and take just some time.
You should like steep in that. And like I don't think there's been steep time. But we agreed that he would be more involved in both childcare and taking care of the house. Okay, that's a win. I also get rather irritable when my anxiety gets really bad, usually when I don't have my medication, and I agreed that I would try to work on keeping my cool. As for the polyamory, I explained to him what it means to me since it's different for everyone. For me, it's not just having spicy sleep with others. In fact, it takes a while of knowing and loving someone before I'm even willing to entertain the idea of having spicy sleep with them. For me, it means genuinely loving and having consensual, honest relationships with multiple people. He said we could try a new dynamic where I can flirt and send pictures to people online as long as I follow some very strict rules, and he was not willing to budge or compromise anymore on this front. 1, so this is with the spicy pics, I can't show my face. And 2, they can't know my name, where I live, or any other personal information. 3, I can never meet any of them in person. And 4, I can't show my tattoos, which is very difficult because I have 7 of them, all on different areas of my body, and several are very close to my intimate areas. 5, I can't form a genuine bond or connection with any of them, and if I do, I have to block them immediately. I feel like this is like just non-monogamy with monogamy mixed in.
Yeah, he's just like, yeah, you could absolutely have other partners as long as you never speak to them or share their name at all.
Yeah, and they don't see you or any intimate or identifiable parts of your body.
Right.
Just seems like watching porn.
Yeah.
Like I think that's what you're describing. Or maybe it's like I don't know, like a live feed.
Yeah.
6, he has to have full access to my messages, anyone and everyone, to make sure I'm following the rules.
The rules.
It's a surveillance state.
The rules.
Oh.
This brought us back to the controlling stuff that we saw before.
We're literally back where we started.
Yes. Absolutely.
It's been about a week since our talk, and he has been a lot more involved with our daughter. In fact, he's turned into almost a model father. Most nights he stays up late anyway, so now unless she needs to nurse, he takes care of our daughter if she wakes up during that time. He helps with one of her solid meals each day. She has 2 a day, and she's very messy, and it's difficult to eat while also helping her. I don't have to ask as often for him to change a diaper or step in when I get overwhelmed. He even agreed to get me some lactation supplements after previously telling me he'd rather do formula than help me boost my milk supply. He's been helping out a little more in the house. He still expects me to praise him anytime he does anything like swap the laundry or do the dishes, but it's a step in the right direction, I guess. He's also been slightly more appreciative of everything I do. He basically did almost a full 180 since before I left. I want so hard to be happy with all of it, but I still worry that once I get settled again and let go of the possibility of leaving, that he'll go right back to his old ways. With the relationship thing, I do still feel unheard and unfulfilled as I explained what it means and it would look like for me, and he seems to have completely disregarded it. With a new dynamic, it's pretty much the same as before because I don't like to engage with others that way until I have a decent bond with them, which is against the rules. By the way, what's against the rules is you not doing the following. If you don't do any of the following, you're banned. For all the good boys and girls that want to do exactly as they're told, you should listen to our podcast episodes where we release twice daily every day. You could listen while you're doing dishes, listen while you're working out. You could put us in your ear holes every waking moment, literally for the next 104 consecutive 24 hours, and you would not run out of content. So please put us in your ear holes. Listen to OK Storytime wherever you get your podcast, Apple Podcast, Spotify, wherever else. I don't know, one of the weird ones, Audible. Go and listen to us. Listen to OK Storytime. But there's a little bit more to this story. After everything that's happened, I find myself wanting to make this work for my daughter. I grew up with split parents and it made me miserable. Plus, I began to worry that if I leave, his next partner may be like my now ex-stepmother and turn him into an abusive and neglectful father. And I can't stand the idea of my baby girl having to go through what I did growing up. Really quick, with this whole worry of if she like polarizes him away, he'll become a worse father than he is now. Do you think that's like a real issue, like a real worry?
Ooh.
Or do you think she should just be like, hey, like, I don't know if this guy is good for me or good for the kid. Let's maybe distance ourselves.
Any thoughts?
I think it is. I can see why she's concerned. You know, I don't know. If you push the dad away, maybe he'll become a worse dad. I can totally see that happening. I just feel so bad for her. Honestly, I feel like she's so strong for putting her foot down and hopefully it lasts. But
so would you stay with the father in hopes that he changes?
Yeah, I mean, even the rules that he put down were so controlling.
I know. It seems like he hasn't changed.
They're just so different. You know, she seems to be more polyamorous and he seems very monogamous, controlling, you know, and some people like that and some people don't. So it seems it's just not a good match. I don't know.
I think they need some time away from each other, first off. I think to really assess what this relationship means, they need time away. I also think if you believe this person is showing signs of being controlling, you can't be fearful that they'll become worse and stay together because of fear that they'll become worse, right? I mean, if they become worse, there are ways to deal with that at a later point. I think you have to do best for yourself and your baby now.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they can do that by giving some time between. And then maybe the father could come back into the baby's life later. But maybe he'll be polarized away and become worse. But regardless, I think doing what is best for her and the baby now with some separation, I think is the best move.
I agree. I've also heard, like, I mean, my parents are still together, but like I've had friends who have divorced parents and they are saying like, yeah, I mean, like they would try to stay together, but then that just kind of made it worse because they knew that they weren't right for each other. So eventually they did have to go through the divorce and then still have that problem happen anyways.
Staying together for, I think like something that we've learned on this show is like staying together for the kids rarely does the kids or the parents any good.
Exactly.
And I think it's more for the preservation of what we believe a family should look like rather than the preservation of peace within that family.
Yeah.
But we got a little bit more to this story. I feel so stuck and confused and I don't know what to do anymore. Maybe do exactly what we said and it'll be better.
Is that the end?
That's the end.
Wow. Oh, man.
Opie, you're in the pickle. You're in a pickle. We support you and I hope you do what's best for you and your baby, what makes you feel best.